So the RHS Writing Center is definitely the best thing that's happened to our school in the past 3 years. It gets to the point sometimes where I wonder how I taught ELA without the Writing Center tutors. For example, today I had some stations in my classroom, and Allison, the director of the Writing Center, sent up a bunch of tutors, and each of the tutors had pre-planned that they would man or woman each one of the stations, and so they guided my kids through practice and through giving and taking of feedback on a specific writing topic, and I was able to float amongst all of the groups in the room and really oversee everything and act as just a facilitator. So it's really changed every facet of everything that I do in my class related to writing, and it's the greatest thing pretty much ever.
My co-teacher and I have used the Writing Center tutors multiple times in our freshman math class. We start out the year with having the tutors come into the classroom to help our kids complete test revisions after our first unit test. So when the students are completing their test revisions in math, they have to correct their math mistakes, but also write about what their mistakes were, or if they're not sure what their mistakes were, they can express what they now know on how to complete the math problem. So the writing tutors come in and work one-on-one with our students who struggle expressing their ideas through writing. We've been utilizing this process since the Writing Center has been in existence, and we've seen a tremendous benefit. Since having the tutors in our classrooms, we've seen an increase in the way that our students are able to express their mathematical ideas through writing.
So the Writing Center has been so invaluable for my students from two perspectives. The first one is the additional set of eyes that are not a teacher's set of eyes seem to put the students at ease. They don't feel threatened or that there's a grade involved, and they are much more likely to open up about where they were going in the essays. The second part that's really important is that the Writing Center model, where the tutors ask questions, allows the students to metacognitively reflect on their writing, something that we always try to get the students to do, but generally they do it after a final draft is already passed in. So this model allows them to metacognitively answer those questions with the student tutors, and I have found that they can explain much more readily the decisions they've made in their writing, which makes for a much better essay.
My students have been using the Writing Center since it opened, and it's been a great experience. I have to say one of the best things to come out of it is, yes, the improvement in their writing, but also in their confidence, and the relationships that they build with an upperclassman really has been a great motivator for them, as well as for the upperclassmen. Some of them now have decided to go into teaching because I think it stems from the opportunity that they had to work one-on-one with kids. It's very helpful when you have large classes because you cannot possibly meet with 30 children at the same time, and they really appreciate the one-on-one.
So I teach ELL 3, and I wanted my students to work with the writing tutors on several writing pieces that I did throughout the quarter one. So I was able to bring students down to the library, or some of the tutors were able to come to my classroom. And one of the great things was that since I have larger class sizes, every student was able to work with a tutor or myself, and they got immediate feedback, and they were able to have one-on-one time with myself or a tutor about their writing, which I thought was really great. Another wonderful aspect of the Writing Center was that many of the tutors are bilingual, so they were able to talk to my students in Spanish or Portuguese, and they were able to clarify, or the students could ask questions in their native language and really have a better way of communicating and getting their thoughts out, especially for writing, which is very difficult for many ELL students. And the last wonderful thing that came out of the Writing Center was that many of my students were able to work with their mainstream students and their peers, and they got to see how some of these writing tutors who were former ELL students are now being tutors and helping in English. So they could see, they could, be a writing tutor someday. They could be in AP classes someday. They could be doing all of these wonderful things, and that really motivated them to want to accomplish those things next year or the next quarter. So I thought that was really great.